On this episode of Star Trek Universe, there's been an announcement regarding the Kelvin timeline. We'll talk about that right after these words from our mystery sponsor.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you get to listen in on the continuing Star Trek conversation the two lifelong friends have been having since they were 6 years old. My name's Matthew Carroll.
And I am David C. Robertson.
How you doing, Dave?
Man, I'm excited today.
I decided to come on fresh. You texted me and said there's big news about a Kelvin timeline movie. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
That may be all there is. But tell me, my friend, what is this news?
All right, well, I'll tell you this. Look, as we know, there have been multiple projects in development, from the Hemsworth revival to Tarantino's project to the Noah Hawley thing. He's going to completely rehaul and with new cast, new characters.
Rehawley?
Yeah. Then Emma Watts became the president of the Paramount Motion Picture Group, and the insiders are saying she put a pause on all that and decided to look into how best to accomplish a successful Star Trek movie. Insiders are saying the studio did market research to determine the audience interest in the rebooted cast. And today, it was announced that they've begun... Well, Deadline says Paramount has begun talks with Chris Pine and the rest of the cast to come back. And we already knew from last summer that J.J. Abrams had hired Matt Shakman of WandaVision to direct. All right. And this is,
cool.
He's not only WandaVision, he did episodes of Game of Thrones and Fargo and The Great. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah. And
it looks like he is supervising a draft by Josh Friedman, who wrote Avatar 2, and Cameron Squires, who also worked on WandaVision, based off of a draft by Lindsay Beer of Sierra Burgess is a Loser, and Geneva Robertson Dworet, who wrote Captain Marvel. So, then during the Viacom CBS Investor Day, J.J. Abrams sounded much more clear, much more confident about the cast coming back. There was no talk of negotiations. Abrams said, "We are thrilled to say that we are hard at work on a new Star Trek film that will be shooting by the end of the year that will be featuring our original cast and some new characters that I think are going to be really fun and exciting and help take Star Trek into areas that you've just never seen before. We're thrilled about this film. We have a bunch of other stories that we're talking about that we think will be really exciting. So can't wait for you to see what we're cooking up. Until then, live long and prosper." No word about the plot line. I think that's interesting, the bit about some other stories. Are they developing a trilogy, or is it more stories within that one movie? I'm curious. That's interesting wording on his part.
yeah. Well, and hearing how he talks, I think stories could just, he mentioned it right after the new characters, and that could just be like, these are new stories, hopefully new ground for Star Trek, like pushing into some new areas, new things, new kind of stories they can tell. That's exciting, man. That's exciting. So basically, we have a Kelvin timeline movie in a further state of development than we've had it thus far.
Right. And to the point where Abrams is making an official announcment here.
Okay, so it was like an official announcement. It wasn't just like an off the cuff remark.
Right. No, this was at like a big investor day, which, by the way, they also announced that Viacom CBS was just going to be known as Paramount now. They're completely merging, for real. And infuriatingly, they also showed a trailer for Strange New Worlds that everybody who's tried to post pictures of it, they've taken it down. They've had copyright strikes against these people.
Wow.
So they didn't release the trailer for us to see online. So I'm just like, since we were talking about doing this, I was just like refreshing. Like, did they release it yet? 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 Like, I just heard one person say bearded Pike on a horse. I'm like, did they release it yet? Did they release it yet?
Is he wearing a shirt or not? I hope he's not wearing a shirt.
But yeah, like, last summer they said that they were shooting for a December 22nd, 2023 date, and if they're starting production by the end of 2022, that would still allow them to meet that release date. I'm excited. I wasn't big on WandaVision, but I don't give a shit. I like I like the Kelvinverse.
Like, I think your particular gripes about WandaVision were very fair. I had similar. I think it was slow to get started, and it spent a little too much time in that fake TV world without getting to the point. I think those are fair criticisms of that show. I love it for what it is, but they're fair criticisms. I think, though, like, no matter what you say about that show, you can't say it's not like an amazing feat. The way that he was able to go back and tell those stories in front of a live studio audience in that old style, As much as you love those old TV shows, I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't enjoy it more. If you go back and watch the behind the scenes that they put out after the show, it's pretty amazing. They wanted to do everything as much like the old days as possible, and they like shot those first 3 episodes as if they were shooting them. You know what I mean? Like shooting them at the time. It's crazy.
I have tremendous respect for that and for the process. I wasn't a big fan of the final outcome. I didn't mind having all of those references, and I just kind of wish they had gotten through those a little bit. Do two per episode.
Yeah, No, I'm with you. If by the end of the second episode, if we'd been in the real world, I think it would have been I think it would have just held on to more audience. I won't even say it would have been better. I think that show did what it did, and like a lot of people absolutely love what it did. But I think there are other people that were alienated by the long time spent in that world.
Yeah.
The long time spent in Westview. This
is a different format. That's neither here nor there. Like,
yeah, for sure. My point is, I just think he's clearly able to really study a format and sort of model what he's doing after that. He's clearly a lover of this kind of like, this era of television, even of the original series Star Trek. And so, I could see him being a great guy to come behind and like maybe take some things from the old stuff and the new stuff and try to put it all together. Anyone who worked on Fargo, I am on board with like following their career. I think Fargo's one of the best shows that's out right now.
That was one of the reasons I was really interested in Noah Hawley doing it, because he did Fargo and Legion. This is all in the same wheelhouse. I feel like same aesthetic and stuff, because Noah Hawley also likes to veer back towards that old school aesthetic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, who knows if they'll do that here, but I'm very interested to see what they're doing. And, it was funny. I posted a drawing I did of Chris Pine's Kirk and said, are you guys, I was like, are you guys hoping for another Kelvinverse movie? And I had more comments than I normally do about, people just like, oh, sadly, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We already know it's not going to happen. Chris Pine won't come back. And I think there's been so much confusion because they've started and stopped so much on this Kelvinverse stuff.
Yeah.
I just like, man, I really hope this happens. Aside from a few elements of Into Darkness, I really enjoy the Kelvinverse movies. I thought Star Trek Beyond was just utterly phenomenal, and my great sadness in this announcement is that Simon Pegg is not working on the script because he did Beyond, but
I think Beyond's the best of the first 3. The first Kelvinverse movie has the same sin that all of these sort of half in, half out reboots have, like whether it's Star Wars or The Matrix or whatever. Like they have this sort of like, oh, it's kind of a reboot, and they're just going to retell you an old story, and they just didn't blaze any new ground. And my whole thing was that's fine. I'm fine with it the first time, but like the second one needs to blaze new ground, and like I don't think it did really by the retelling of Khan. But the third one, they finally got there. They finally told like a Star Trek story, but it's not an actual old Star Trek story,
Right. And the infuriating thing is like Paramount lost money on that movie. It was a flop. But they also didn't market it. No one knew it was even happening. Like they put out one trailer like a month before it came out, and I never saw it like on television. I never saw like, how like I'm not even trying, and all I see is shit about the Batman. This is like the Batman. Like, freaking Little Caesars has a calzone that's shaped like a bat right now.
I saw that, and I thought it's so weird. Like, I understand that Batman movies have always been these huge tent poles for merchandising, especially like, you know, restaurant merchandising, all that stuff. But like this movie, the tone of it feels totally off for that sort of a thing.
It does.
And like, it's so weird to see a bat-shaped calzone for this movie. Man, I'm excited for that movie though. Anyway, so any other details?
No, I don't have any other details. I just thought this was incredibly newsworthy, and we should hop on it. Honestly, like,
yeah, man.
Like I said, I was really hoping we'd have a Strange New World trailer to dissect here for this episode, but that might have to wait a few days.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back in you guys' feed with that. I know we'll be back with Discovery in a few days, so hopefully we'll be back with some Strange New Worlds. I can't wait for Strange New Worlds. That should be this year, right?
Yes, I believe May 5th.
Oh, I did not realize it was that soon.
I think it premieres the same day Picard ends.
That's super rad.
Yeah.
That's a great idea to have a handoff there. Because I think a lot of the people that are there for Picard will be there for a show like Strange New Worlds, which I'm being very presumptive about what Strange New Worlds is going to be like, but I think we have a good idea at least.
Yeah. What let me ask you, because we haven't had too much time here yet. So let me just go ahead and ask, what are you hoping to see out of this Kelvinverse movie? Because, you know, at the end of Beyond, spoilers, the Enterprise is destroyed, and we literally see them rebuilding the Enterprise, building a new Enterprise, the Enterprise A. So we're essentially into like movie universe, like the TOS films universe at this point. Like,
sure.
Do you want to see, like, with the amount of time this lapsed, we could actually have, you know, Kirk has come back successfully from his 5-year mission. We could have him be Admiral Kirk at this point.
Possibly. I mean, even when he is Admiral Kirk in those first 2 movies, he's so resistant to it because he still wants the chair. And I always love that area of Kirk, you know, when he's like, yeah, I'm the Admiral, but when, you know, the shit hits the fan, I'm the captain again.
Yeah.
Give me the chair.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Pine being pushed toward the Admiralty and like wanting to hang on to the chair. And it's really strange because I do kind of feel like these movies ran their course in that there hasn't been one for so long. I mean, we've had 6 years since the last one, and that's just a long time for a franchise that it did them, you know, 2009, and then between 2009 and 2016 there were 3 movies. So that's like, you know, every 3 years or so, and then it's just 6 years of that one. It just feels like it's over. Like I'm excited to see what they do, but because of that long gap, I kind of feel like they could do anything. They could do what you're talking about with like a little bit older crew, movie era type stuff. Or, man, they could have a movie set in the Kelvin timeline that it doesn't focus exactly on the crew. You know, it could do something else completely. I just because I love the continuity, I'd love to see them interact with the regular timeline, but that gets dicey. Of course, in today's world with what's going on in Marvel and DC, you can have all kinds of crossover stuff. Have you seen the new Multiverse of Madness trailer yet?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else about this Star Trek announcement before I talk to you about the big reveal in the Multiverse of Madness trailer?
What I'll say is one of my favorite conversations in Star Trek, all of Star Trek, is where, you know, Kirk is explaining to Decker in the motion picture, they gave me back the center seat. I'm taking the center seat, Will. I'm the most, you know, I know the Enterprise better. And he's like, you know, bullshit. And he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, no, sir, I don't think you are sorry. Not one damn bit.
Yeah.
Turned out that guy was a pedophile. So that scene's a little tainted for me. But,
oh, gosh.
Yeah, that guy from Seventh Heaven, you know?
Yikes. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But, yeah, like I love that. So I do really love the idea of maybe a Captain Spock in charge of the Enterprise and Kirk is now Admiral. I love that notion, but I also am painfully aware that Kurtzman has apparently had some conversations about crossovers and like crossing over into the movies a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I'm down, man. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, I could even see them like just, in a few years. I mean, it's been 6 years or whatever. I could see them in a few years doing like Kelvin Next Generation. You know what I mean? Like they could do whatever they wanted and have new, the Next Generation crew, and how far has the universe diverged by that point,
Yeah, I would love to see, like, I don't even want Sulu to be a part of the crew. I want him to be captaining Excelsior at this point.
Absolutely. It'd be super rad. I mean, I wouldn't mind this being the Sulu movie,
I wouldn't either. We talked about that when they were saying Chris Pine didn't want to sign. I'm like,
yeah, I think we did.
So make it a Sulu movie.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like let Chris Pine sign, but like maybe he doesn't have to be the main protagonist or the captain.
Yeah. It'd
be great to see a movie about John Cho's Sulu, and then like have maybe he has to save Pine or save Kirk, and then he brings him on the ship, and they have that sort of like it's the struggle of two captains on the bridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially an ex-subordinate.
Yeah, man.
That sounds fun.
Star Trek Captain's Duty. That's the name of the movie. And just this Sulu on board the Excelsior. He and his husband have split up, right? Mm-hmm. Because of his duty as captain. Like he's only got one. Just like Kirk in the original series, he only has time for one female in his life. Or one partner in his life, I should say, in this case. And be like, that's the Excelsior. And just like have like this broken Sulu who's like trying to figure out like the way to make that work in his life and the way to be happy. And you can have like a 5-minute cameo from Pine.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to see them all come back. I'd like to see them all do it again. But at the same time, I could see them just doing whatever they want with the Kelvin timeline. It's neat. It took a long time getting used to, but it's neat that they have a completely split off universe now that feels fairly lived in, and that we could do something completely different in that universe. Like I said, Next Generation or, whatever. And then retell old stories. But I want this one to feel like Beyond. The reason I think Beyond worked so well is it was a new story. They weren't trying to retell.
Well, everything in the Kelvin universe is a little heightened, so we could do like Star Trek Deep Space Damn.
Yes, I'm down. Okay, I really have to go. But man. Real quick, Multiverse of Madness trailer spoiler alert for everybody. If you're not watching the Multiverse of Madness trailer, skip away. But here we go. That voice, my friend. That voice.
Yeah,
in the back, in we're looking like we're getting
Illuminati,
Professor
man.
X, man, Illuminati. We got Stark Tech bots like walking into this Illuminati chamber.
I saw Superior Iron Man.
Oh, you think it's Superior Iron Man?
That's what it looks like. It looks like Superior Iron Man.
So I think that was in one of the TV spots. Not the trailer. So there's the official trailer on their channel, and then there's like a bunch of TV spots.
Yeah, that I've watched a bunch of them.
Well, they're swirling around YouTube, but some of them are fan cuts, and I can't even tell which are which. Yeah, it's really bad because some of them are just like taking other footage from other trailers of Doctor Strange and like piecing them in with. But then some of them are actual things, and I don't know which is which.
I will say this: I did see like. Because I saw Superior Iron Man, or what I thought was Superior Iron Man, and then Tom Taylor, who did Superior Iron Man in the comics, was like, posted screenshots of that and was like, look, I don't have official information, but I'm pretty sure that's Superior Iron Man.
That's great. That's great. Well, and I think it's absolutely possible. I don't think I actually seen that version of the trailer you're talking about. I saw a screenshot from it. But there's also whoever that character is that looks like a female that's on fire, who's fighting with Wanda inside the Illuminati chamber. That all just looks great, man. I can't believe they're ratcheting up from where they were. Like, we just saw No Way Home, and that was such an amazing thing. And now, like, to go to possibly bring in Charles Xavier. from the multiverse, so it's not even necessarily the version we've seen, but it's got to be Charles Xavier.
There are so many versions that we've already seen. You know, like,
you mean the two?
Well, there were the original X-Men films with the first three. All right, but then after, you know, then we went to young one. What's his name? What is his name?
McAvoy,
James McAvoy.
Yeah.
So we had those, and then we started bringing in Xavier from that. Okay, so they changed the timeline. They changed the timeline with Wolverine,
right?
And Days of Future Past, and then Logan is a whole separate thing.
I don't know if Logan's a whole separate thing. I always assumed Logan was the same thing.
Really? You think Logan's part of the same universe?
Oh yeah. Why wouldn't it be? You could say that it's a different universe, but I don't see.
Well, you know, at the end of what was it? Was it the Wolverine when they were ratcheting up for Days of Future Past? He's like at a nice airport, and like Xavier and Magneto show up to recruit him, and then like in Days of Future Past, it's like a complete hellscape of a world. Like, what happened here? Like, what exactly is going on?
The timeline's all fractured. My point is, Logan was such a great swan song for both their characters that I agree. Do you want to bring them back? Maybe not, but if you got the multiverse to play with, and you bring back a version of Professor X or a version of Logan that like couldn't be played by the same actor, but could be a completely different variant and not like undercut the story we saw in Logan, then like play with it, man. Have fun.
Yeah, if you're doing multiverse, they can bring back Xavier and have it be whoever the hell they want, and it'll be fine.
Without destroying the wonderful swan song that was Logan. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be like, well, after he killed me, I woke up in this dimension here, and now I'm part of this Illuminati, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't have to happen. Anyway, okay, I just loved it.
I did too.
I'm super excited. That voice, as soon as I heard I mean, it's germane to the topic that we're talking about right now because it's Patrick Stewart. And you know, it's funny. This is the MCU cast guy, the Marvel guy over here, watching the trailer, and I heard his voice, and I did not connect it to Charles Xavier for way too long. And I mean, I'm talking like I'm talking like 4 seconds. It wasn't that long, but like I heard his voice, I was like, it's Patrick Stewart. They're bringing in Patrick Stewart to do something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, right. Of course they're doing
Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course it's Charles Xavier. It's gotta be.
Yeah. I was super excited, and probably equally exciting to me was, you know, my God, the Sam Raimi shots. My God, the Sam Raimi shots.
Yes, the blood all over Wanda's head, and like all these zombie people, and the zoom into her eye.
Zoom in, yeah.
It's Raimi all over, man. I am really, really excited. Did you see the animated frame?
The animated frame?
Yeah.
What are you talking about exactly?
So there's a moment where Doctor Strange has a hold of America Chavez, and they're going through those star-shaped portals, right? And they're like falling through multiverses, and it appears like they fall through one with dinosaurs, and they fall into one that has like they're like splitting apart into pieces or whatever. But if you go frame by frame, and I mean it is 2 frames, I think. If you go frame by frame, it's actually deceptive editing. They're not actually coming from there because you can see into one of the portals they're coming out of, and the world they're falling out of is animated.
Oh, man.
Right?
What?
Yeah. I've been saying that on the MCU cast for a couple years. Like, they could absolutely have a Spider-Ham show up. Like, or
Into the Spider-Verse in general.
All of those characters from Into the Spider-Verse could show up. The particular animation style that you can see, you only see it for like 2 frames. But the particular animation style looks like Looney Tunes. Like, it looks like old school Looney Tunes. And so I was thinking it might be Spider-Ham, which would be silly, but like it could be anything. And it's just that opens the world so much. Also, there's all these rumors about Anson Mount coming back as Black Bolt. Have you heard those rumors?
Well, yeah, and I haven't heard the rumors, but I did wonder because, you know, I saw a lot of people were saying, you know, it looked like Black Panther on the Illuminati, and I thought that suit looks more like Black Bolt for real. Black Bolt is part of the Illuminati too.
Yeah. We tried to look up there's like 30 characters who've been in the Illuminati over the years, so I'm like, I don't know which version they're going to go with, but like Anson Mount has been rumored before that trailer came out. There's been rumors that he might show back up as Black Bolt. There's also in Miss Marvel this week, there was a release of some, this is, I guess, another spoiler alert, because this is a leak and I don't know if it's true. TV Time, the app, which you like.
I do like TV Time, yeah.
Posted the Miss Marvel episode titles. And it hasn't been released yet officially, so it could be bullshit.
This is the animated show? Or what are we talking about? Oh, okay.
Miss Marvel, the TV show, is coming out according to TV Time, it's coming out in May, but that has not been officially released. But according to TV Time, it's like May 11th or something like that. Like, which is the week after Doctor Strange comes out. Which makes sense. And it's the week before Doctor Strange comes out should be the last episode of Moon Knight. So we might be getting Moon Knight that ends on a Tuesday, and then that weekend Doctor Strange comes out, and then the next week Miss Marvel starts.
Yeah, Moon Knight looks dope as shit, dude.
Moon Knight looks so freaking dope, dude.
It looks so good.
Yeah, for real. So this is all exciting, but one of those episode titles, which is just really weird, is called Lock and Jaws. And Lockjaw is the name of the dog from the Inhumans. Oh, yeah. Which she is also an Inhuman. So if she goes through Terrigenesis and becomes an Inhuman, and let's say the royal family is watching out for Inhumans, it's possible the Inhumans could show up in that show if they want to bring them back. Which I've been saying for years they would never do it. Like, they're not bringing Inhumans back. That show bombed so terribly. But man, I trust it. Now that it's in Feige's hands, like, if he wanted to bring back Anson Mount as Black Bolt and have Lockjaw be a part of Miss Marvel, like, giving Miss Marvel a big teleporting dog would be so much fun. Yeah. Teenage stretchy girl with a teleporting dog, like, I'm here for it.
Yeah. What do you, like, real quick before we sign out, what do you think about the Netflix officially losing all the Defender shows and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Right. I was worried about it when I first heard, but every article I'm reading is just assuming it's going to end up on Disney Plus, which makes it sound like...
Or Hulu.
Right. It makes it... I think that if they're putting Moon Knight on Disney Plus, the one thing that worries me is that, and I said this on the MCU cast, but the one thing that worries me about them moving that stuff over to Disney Plus is obviously a little censorship. Because they've censored things in the past, and like what I said on the MCU cast was, have you seen the things they've done that are crazy on Disney Plus, where like there'll be a mistake in an episode and they'll go in and fix it?
I may have heard of that.
It's crazy. The first week WandaVision came out, or no, I guess it was the third week, because it was the week when they're in the 70s. He's on this. There's that shot when they're on the swing together. For whatever reason, they did not paint his arm. Oh. And you can see just regular skin under Vision's shirt. And he's sitting there swinging, and we all noticed it. We took screenshots, and we joked about him, like, wearing, just hand makeup or whatever. Like, all these jokes going around about him not having, this little mistake. The next week, Disney Plus had fixed it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I love that, though.
It's neat, but the thing that worries me about the censorship idea is, like, what if we get a Daredevil show that drops on Disney Plus, and then, like, it's not on Netflix anymore for us to compare, but we start seeing, like, didn't a little more head drop from that door that Kingpin slammed? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if it's a little less chunky? There's just a little blood now. That used to be, like, chunks of flesh. Like, I'm going to miss the hamburger face that Punisher shot a shotgun into, Yeah. Those things, I'm a little worried that Disney's going to sanitize it a little bit.
Yeah. Now the end of Daredevil is just, Kingpin and Daredevil playing a friendly game of Go Fish.
Yeah.
And Kingpin's wearing the Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, have you watched that yet? Are you caught up on Hawkeye?
I'm not. I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, like a lot of people, or us all on the cast were watching, are like, I know it's from comics, or we didn't actually. I didn't at all at the time.
Yeah.
But that's from comics. But like, it doesn't. If this is your first time ever seeing Kingpin, like, I need him to be all threatening. I don't know. It felt a little Disney, and I was a little bummed by it.
Oh well.
I'm hopeful, very hopeful. And if they did do it on Hulu, that's fine with me. Put it on Hulu. I don't care. I got both.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I want those shows back, and I'm glad to see that they've got the rights back, because as soon as here's what excites me. They got the rights back. They're leaving Netflix on March 1st, is what they're saying. The story is. Moon Knight, which is much in the similar vein as those shows, drops on March 30th on Netflix, on Disney Plus.
Okay.
So what if we got some sort of crossover of Moon Knight and some of the Defenders characters? It looks like it might be a kind of world traveler type situation with Moon Knight. Yeah. So what if we got a crossover? What if we got Matt Murdock showing up in Moon Knight for an episode or whatever? And then at the same time, they're like, if you like this character, check out this on Disney Plus, and it's the entire series, I
fully expect they'll be doing that. I mean, what have we been hearing forever, that Jessica Jones is going to be in She-Hulk or something? Like,
right.
It really does, and now Charlie Cox has been saying, like, oh yeah, we're having some talks. It's happening, Yeah,
like, you've been saying that after you'd filmed No Way Home a year and a half ago or whatever,
Yeah.
Anyway, I am very excited about what's going on with all that. But I just wanted to talk to you about the fact that they're bringing back Charles Xavier is insane to me, and I'm so excited. Like, I could see them opening up that panel and it lighting up, and it's just like both versions of Charles Xavier are up there,
Maybe. I doubt it, but
I could totally see them bringing back McAvoy as well, because it's the multiverse. Because the Illuminati was not the multiverse Illuminati. This is a different thing, and so if you've got these powerful creatures from all the multiverse, who knows, man.
My hope, I have a hope that Deadpool is on the Illuminati.
Have you seen that little Easter egg that's going around?
No. I don't generally keep up with Marvel.
I know.
Because I like to be kind of surprised. But
okay.
I just think it would be interesting to have him there for his unique perspective.
This is something I found out after we recorded MCU Cast. So if you're an MCU Cast listener, I haven't even got a chance to talk about this. But there's apparently, in the shards of glass on the poster for Multiverse of Madness, there is a figure, and honestly, if you weren't looking for it, you can't even tell that it's a figure. Like, it looks just like a couple dots. But if you look at it side by side with a picture of Deadpool shushing that's from a previous poster,
right? I know that well.
It is that picture.
That's
clearly
awesome.
In the glass. Like, if you're not looking for it, it's so hard to see. It's so small, and it's just a couple dots, but like, it lines up perfectly with that Deadpool shushing, which like is such a great Easter egg to like, to put an Easter egg in a poster that is Deadpool shushing the audience, like, don't tell him I'm here. That is so spot on Easter egg.
That's fantastic.
Breaking the fourth wall on the poster,
Yeah, I love that. I love that we have fans who are basically like a positive version of Frederick Wortham, the guy that wrote The Seduction of the Innocent way back in like whatever it was, the 40s or 50s.
Right.
Remember the guy that like was like, he wrote this book trying to convince everybody that comic books were evil. And one of the things that he said in there was that he was analyzing comic book pages and finding female genitalia in the wrinkles of clothes. Like, see, they're being subversive and trying to subliminally screw with our kids by putting genitals.
I feel corrupted just hearing about it.
So yeah, I love that we have a bunch of positive Frederick Worthams out there just analyzing every element of a poster.
Man, it's crazy. And also in that poster, have you watched What If yet?
I've seen two of the episodes.
Okay, so you've seen the first episode. Also in that poster, there is very clearly, it's not even that hard to see, the Captain Carter shield.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so, because I would really love to see. I want Captain Carter
Me too.
In universe.
Oh. And the fact that we already know they're going to one animated universe. What if they go into an animated universe and then they pull Captain Carter into ours? You know? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good. It's so exciting.
I know.
That's so pumped.
Okay. That's so great.
Well, I'm gonna let you go. I really do have to get to bed. But
I hear you,
guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back real quick with more stuff for the Star Trek Universe podcast. Jolan True.
Live long, live prosper. What?
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.